Hello there guys, how's it going? Like Butter here. Today I'm bringing you a Division video because 1.6 and Last Stand has a date. If you don't know that and you're hearing this for the first time, the date is the 28th, which is tomorrow. Now I've been super sidetracked with other games and stuff, but I have been so excited for 1.6 and Last Stand, and I wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of what 1.6 and Last Stand is. Obviously, I'm not going to go over everything, but the patch notes are releasing today, which I will put in the description the second they come out. But I just want to talk a little bit about Last Stand and what my opinions were about it, since I did get a chance to play it in the PTS from week 1 to week 4 and talk about the changes that were made, and if I think that Last Stand is something that you will be interested in. Now, if you are a PvP player, I think it is very obvious that you will be very interested in Last Stand because, well, Last Stand finally gives Division players a game mode that it so desperately needed, because this game never had true PvP. The closest to true PvP that we could get was the Dark Zone, and the Dark Zone wasn't really meant to be PvP. A lot of the devs have spoken about this, saying that the Dark Zone originally was supposed to be a PvE area where you could PvP, not a PvP area where you could PvE. So Division players have never really had that arena or that place to just PvP without, losing keys and losing experience and feeling like PvPing is something wrong, feeling like you're taking, gear away from other players and griefing them. I hear people use the word grief a lot for shooting other players in the Dark Zone when that's just part of the game. Finally, with the Last Stand game mode, I think a lot of people are going to have that place where you can try new builds and you can, test new weapons and you can PvP without feeling guilty. And I think that was something that this game drastically needed. So if you like PvP and you're interested in PvP, and even if you're not, Last Stand I think is a very good transition from PvP to PvE. It's like a perfect middle ground in between the two, because you can also PvE in that mode and help your team by getting boosts and getting Shade Tech or whatever it's called. I think it's called, I forget. I don't know. I'm going to call it Shade Tech. I think that's what they called it. But you get basically currency that your team can spend on fortifications and pulse beacons, and you can buy boosts and help your team. So I personally think that Last Stand is a fantastic mode to transition this game from PvE to PvP, or maybe even a PvP player that may start to realize that PvEing in Last Stand is very important as well. And it's just a perfect mix between the two. And obviously this isn't like the PvP arena that we all wanted. Obviously 8v8 in some of the maps, it just kind of feels really open and empty, but it does what it needs to, and that's to give players who want a PvP somewhere to go without penalty. And I think it does a very good job of that. Now, if you have no interest whatsoever in PvP, is it still worth getting Last Stand? Now, of course, Last Stand isn't bringing any new gear sets, no new gear. Of course, the exotics are getting changed, from named weapons to exotics, but that's happening anyways, and that's a part of 1.6. The Dark Zone expansion, DZ 7 through 9, DZ North, is also part of 1.6. So you might be asking yourself, like, well, if I'm a PvE player, why would I buy Last Stand? What is there for me to do? And I will tell you what there is for you to do. Well, the Incursion Lost Signal has to be by far, and I think it's called Stolen Signal. I think I messed it up. I always say Lost Signal, but I think it's Stolen Signal. Is hands down the best incursion that this game has ever had. It actually feels like a baby raid, and that's exactly what we wanted incursions to feel like. Now, if the areas were increased in size and there were more enemies and there was 6 players on a squad instead of 4, I seriously think that this could pass as a raid. It has very good mechanics And it reminds me of a Destiny raid. Like, once you learn the mechanics of a Destiny raid, you continue the same thing over and over until you beat it. It's actually very similar to that, and it feels amazing. And I will say that if you are a PvE player and you like challenging content, I think that Stolen Signal is going to be a must-have piece of content for you. And like I said, it would be worth trying the PvP mode out, even if you have no type of interest in it, because there is nothing wrong with just giving it a shot. You progress no matter what, you're going to get loot no matter what, and it just might be fun. You never know. You might be able to like team up with a couple of your buddies who may like PvPing more than you, and you may play that PvE role where you're going to go around and you're going to clear NPCs to, you know, gain your group boosts and all that other kind of stuff. And maybe you could do like a skill build and follow your teammates around and help them out. And I seriously think that Last Stand gives us things that we've wanted for so long. And that's why I think 1.6 in The Last Stand is going to be fantastic. The balancing, the weapon balancing, almost everything is almost exactly where we want it to be. Now, the only drawback to this DLC, like I said, was no gear score increase. And I know a lot of people didn't want the gear score to increase, and I totally understand that. People spent hundreds upon hundreds of hours farming gear. But it is a looter shooter, and people like me, and I know you're going to say I'm the 1%, and I understand that, but people who play this game hardcore, I feel like they're going to have a hard time finding things to do, which is why I really hope like the leaderboards and cosmetic items and maybe new builds that pop up in the meta are something that we can build towards. But with not having any new gear sets, no new gear, no new weapons, there's really not much to grind for except the exotic items that some of you may already have. So that's the only drawback to 1.6, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of worried about not knowing what's next after 1.6, because in a game like The Division, you spend so many hours looting gear and stuff, and like, we want to know what's next, you know? And I really think that there's going to be year 2 content announced. I don't know if they're going to call it year 2 content, or if they're going to announce how many DLCs they want to do, or if they're just going to do free updates. I have no idea what they're going to do. They did say that they are going to do future updates, but they didn't specify what, which means Ubisoft might not have a plan yet for the future. They may see how 1.6 in The Last Stand does, and then go from there and see if they want to do another year of DLC, or do they want to come out with The Division 2, because I guarantee you The Division 2 is already in the works, if not, you know, 75% done. Ubisoft loves their sequels, and The Division was a hit, and I feel like after The Division, they've learned so much from the engine and the problems that it had, that The Division 2 would be phenomenal if it's in the works. I'm not sure if it is, but it would be great if it was. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of update you guys, let you guys know that 1.6 and Last Stand are releasing tomorrow. I will be live streaming it the second the patch comes out. Usually I don't do that. I usually wait until later in the day. But I actually have to go to a meeting early in the morning with my fiance, so I'm actually going to just wake up and stream before that, so that we can get like 8 hours of gameplay of 1.6 and Last Stand. We're going to try to do the incursion right off the bat. We're going to do the legendary missions, and hopefully we're going to go into the new Dark Zone and do some Last Stand as well. So we're going to be doing all that cool stuff. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was somewhat informative and helped you out if you're kind of on the edge of buying the DLC or not. I promise I've been as truthful as possible. You know, obviously the PTS had a lot of bumps in the road, but the final version of the PTS was very solid, and I think it was easily the most balanced the PvP has ever been. And we'll see how it pans out over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we get a confirmation of that year 2 content. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been Like Butter. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.